Let's go. What's up, people? It's your man Black Cobra back once again with the Real Life Show, your place for all things PEV and definitely energy and enthusiasm. Welcome, 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 welcome back to the show. I appreciate you, each and every one of you, everybody that jumps in. We already got a few in here. Chris Torino, looks like you're the first one in here, buddy. What's up, what's up, what's up? Good to see you. Let's go. That's right. Let's go. You know. Oh, yes, definitely. We got Spartacus in the house. What's up, man? I appreciate you. I'm getting a chime in. Hang on one second. Let me get this set up real quick. Hang on, fellas. All right, let me get you in. Let me sit you like this. Okay, so right now, we are just getting set up. We were having a little background difficulty, but we're in the house right now. So let me bring in my two guests today, the father and son dynamic duo. You know them as James and Zack Darnell. What's up, gentlemen?
Okay.
What's up? How you guys doing over there?
Man, we're doing really good. How you doing?
Good. So I can the split screen has got you both right in the middle. So we may have to add maybe add one of you on another device, or you guys are gonna have to sit really, really close. I don't know if you
Fine.
can see it on
We can get
yours.
closer. We're
There you
family.
go. Okay, there you go. All right,
But
so
pretend it's a family photo at Walmart.
there you go. There you go. Matter of fact, I got a couple of those photos with you two in it.
That's why I said it.
Yes, definitely. So today, everybody, we have the infamous, and I say infamous because anybody that's been around racing over the last couple years definitely knows these two. Um, the infamous Darnell family. You guys have been very impressive and very dynamic in the world of EUC. And I wanted to have you guys on just to talk about some of your background, but also just because you guys both have been really, really great guys to talk to. I don't just love your racing, but your personalities. So, as you guys know, I try to bring on people that I like their personality. That's why I don't do shows all the time because I don't always like I don't always gel or mesh with everyone. So you get who I like. That's who you get on the show. So I appreciate you guys for coming on. And we are going to delve into a lot of what you guys have done. But before I do that, I do want to continue to say thanks to everybody that's jumped in. EUC Lifer, you are cracking me up. He said, "Let's go," in his Black Cobra voice. Let's go. Appreciate
Let's
you.
go.
We got Stan, Melissa
Hey,
Darnell.
first
I
of all,
think I know her. I think I met that Melissa Darnell before. You guys know her?
first
She's
of all, thanks for having us. Huge honor.
Yeah,
It's
thank you so much for the warm welcome. I really appreciate everything you do for the community, especially all your work at Amp Games. Even doing this channel is pretty awesome.
absolutely. I mean, your contribution to the community is, I mean, not to be understated, and uh, you know,
well, I
we definitely
appreciate that. I
appreciate you.
appreciate that, gentlemen. I definitely try to lend a little bit of my energy and enthusiasm when I can and where I can. And Amped Electric Games is definitely one of my favorite places to go. It is a good time. It has been every year, and it shall be again this year. We're making
Right,
some
that's just
changes this
awesome.
year. I see. I saw the shirt. I saw the cup too.
Yeah,
the
there
cup,
you go.
the cup from Las
So
Vegas. You were there too.
don't forget the
Yeah.
Amp phone case.
Oh, what?
Um,
And I see behind you you have the iconic setup from James Darnell. You guys see that leather suit behind him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in my garage. Zach officially moved out 6 months ago,
Ah,
so I'm gradually taking my garage and house back.
yeah, but we have shared custody over a lot of the tools and equipment in here.
I see.
So we might have to go
Okay.
to legal claims court down the road.
I'm sure we'll be able to settle it out of court.
Mhm.
So in the chat, we also have Crazy Eye PEV. He says, "What's up? What's up, man?" We got
What's up?
Wheelie Dope. Wheelie Dope is in the house. What's up, Wheelie?
Hi, players.
Rockabye, my man. Rockabye posts a lot of videos. He says, "Ha, literally just turned YouTube on, and it's this guy on my TV
There,
saying,
there
let's
you go.
go."
Hey, John, what's up, man?
We get everyone across the U.S.
Yeah,
Ah, more
you're
Darnells
almost
in the
you're
house.
almost famous. I figure between Zach's popularity and my 7 fans, if we can get like a few of them, like I think Pigu Hajali might join, so I'm hoping on that. My mom might call in, so
Collins.
All
yeah,
right.
Fun.
yeah. So we might get
Hey,
up to about 300, 420 or so
we'll
views to
take
it.
that.
Yeah.
We'll take that. So, Fresh Bones, what's up? So, we got a lot of people, and as we go on, it'll continue to add in EUC vibes. Let's go.
Chris
Tommy is
Turbo.
in the house. Turbo. Turbo? Is that Turbo? It is
Turbo.
Turbo. What's up, man?
Yeah. Two bro.
Yeah,
It's two
two bro.
bro, I understand.
So what I'm gonna do real quick, because I want them to be able to see both of you. Hold on a sec. What I'm gonna do is see if I can take me out for a
Oh,
second.
Another
and
fast rider.
yeah.
I've seen Turbo in some of these races and stood on a podium next to him.
Yes,
He's pretty quick.
definitely. Turbo is the fastest crasher I know. Love you, Turbo. Turbo said he's the white cobra. No, that's taken. My brother's the white cobra, and
I
he
don't
would.
know. I've seen people slide out pretty fast in quite a few races.
Yes, Zach has had his share of slide outs as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Oh, and by the way, Zach, I apologize. I spelled his name and I put a K on it. It's no
No,
K on Zach.
it's all good.
Just so
There's
you
five
guys
ways to
know, if you're
spell it,
trying
so
to spell
you
his
can't go
name,
wrong.
He
say that
didn't let
again.
mom and dad slide on that. I'll tell you that.
No, he didn't let them slide.
He didn't like Zachary or Zach with a K. He said it's ZAC, mom and dad. It's ZAC.
Hmm. But the older I got, the less I cared about what people call me.
Oh yeah, yeah. That
You'll
that
care
that.
less and less when you
Yeah,
get to my
I
age.
think
Yeah.
the most recent nickname I got was Balzac.
Thank
you real
you, older sister Brittany.
Yeah,
well you realize the funnier the nickname, the more entertaining it is to you, and you don't care. so so what did oh wait, John Darnell or his uncle, he didn't let
That's
him slide either. Didn't let me slide either. Zach, you were on him, huh?
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. No,
Well, that's
Uncle
good.
John and Aunt Melissa showed up at Aunt Electric Games. You got to meet them, and they
Yep.
met you. Yeah, they're great family support. Thanks for joining, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I what I want to do right now is I want to go down a little bit. I know. Well, here, let me jump back in. I want to go down a little bit of your history because I mean I know everybody here knows, those that know you who have seen you racing before. They know all the things that you guys have done. But you sent a little bit of your history that I was looking at, and I was impressed because when you put it all together is when you really see, just all I know is you two are fast. I see you racing everywhere. You're skilled and you're fast. And like I said, you have great personalities, so you're easy to talk to. And that I remember no matter what we do. So, and looking at this and some of these things, I was surprised because some of the things I didn't know because I haven't been, or I didn't go to all of these tournaments or all of these races and all of these events that you guys have been to. So I'm gonna pop out real quick, but I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna start with you, Zach. So, in looking at some of the things that you've done that I didn't know, so your profile from Shredfest 2022, you were second. That I'm assuming that was in the. I'm not sure what Shredfest had. Did they only have a flat track there, or did they have some off roading as well?
It was Shredfest is kind of like a ski resort.
Hmm.
Um, it's set up in a way to where you shuttle to the top of the mountain, then you race down the mountain through a bunch of different cat tracks that intertwine through the, like the valleys of the mountain. And this past year, we started from the bottom of that mountain, raced up to the top, then raced down to the bottom, then right through the, I guess through the meadow there.
But that
Okay.
Pretty
first
cool.
year, 2022, that was just a
Yeah, that
downhill
was just a
race.
downhill race through the mountains. But
Okay.
on that one in particular, we threw in a bunch of single track trails towards the end, so it was a little interesting, and it got spicy during the heats. I gotta say.
And then on the pro finals, uh, they they added like a huge drop off,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because it was who was in it? Chance, yourself,
I think Chooch was there. Oh,
Shibby.
got a bunch of people from the Bay Area. There's Maribel. Um,
Well, she was in the women's class, but she was also there.
oh yeah,
Who also was from the Bay Area? He was in it as well. Kevin
Yeah,
Kevin
Kevin.
Zavala.
Kevin
Um,
Zavala, another fast
yeah,
guy.
so a pretty talented pro finals, and they added like this big huge drop off, and the Surons completely destroyed it. Like before
Oh,
we got a chance to race it, and they're like, "You guys
oh
still want to do it?"
no.
And uh, let's say 4 or 5 of us were like, "Hell yeah, let's do it!" And so we
That's how
did
you
it.
do it.
Hmm.
And yeah, go ahead, you finish.
Well,
Yeah, so that
let me ask you this. I'm gonna run down your history, and then you tell me out of all of these wins, which ones stand out the most to you, and which ones you remember the most, and why. So, Shredfest 2022, you took second. Northwest Electric Fest 2022, you took first. Amped 2022, first overall on the track and third off road. Apple Valley in 2022. That one you took sixth place. So I know that one. That's a big track right there.
He
Eastgate.
split out in the first lap.
yeah, I might have been higher up there. I wasn't too fuzzy. I should have put a little question mark there.
Okay. Well, we can find that
Yeah.
out. Eastgate Con in 2023, you were fifth. Um,
Also split out.
Yeah.
also slid out on that one too. That was another one.
Oh yeah.
So you weren't lying when you said there was some sliding out going on. Then
He's
Let It
got a lot of
Ride.
great. He's got a lot of great makeup videos, catch-up videos.
Hmm.
Well, we're gonna look at some photos in a minute. We got Let It Ride 2 in 23, you took first. Then the Shred Fest in 23, you took second. Northwest Electric Fest in 23, you took second. Amped 2023, you crashed, he says, on the oval track. That was another slide out. And fourth in the overall. And then Apple Valley in 23, you took fifth. Now, all of these races, that's a mouthful, first of all. That's a lot of races. So,
Hmm.
Shred Fest 23 also slid out in the last turn. He had first going into it,
Hmm.
and Doug Marshall was right behind him,
mhm.
and them two were way ahead of everyone else. So much so, Zach had time to gain consciousness, grab his wheel. No, he jumped over the line, and they said, "No, you need your wheel." So he goes back and he grabs his wheel that was like over some barrier, and he gets it, and he's like throws it over and dives, and then I think Matt Burt came
Hmm.
in shortly afterward. So
Yeah.
uh, I unfortunately didn't see that. I
You
was
didn't see it.
no. I fell in the pro semifinals and was not in the finals. So I was kind of helping with making sure people got through the course. And Sam, um, what's Sam's last name?
Clang.
Clint. Yeah, he wiped out in spectacular fashion. Uh, so I was helping him while the rest of the pack finished, and so yeah, I didn't get to see that. But Roger Jolly posted like a really good video of that.
Roger Jolly, another great racer. He's not
But
in here yet. I'm hoping he
going back
jumps
to your
on.
question, I'd say the one race that most got me was 2022 at Northwest Electric Fest. I was being chased by Shibby Time, and I don't know. I see Shibby as a god. He is no mortal man. He is he. So being chased by him down those single tracks, that was a lot of fun. A little bit a little terror, but like that really got me excited about racing more. Like this is awesome.
Did you
Um,
feel like I'm really in it?
oh,
Like
I'm really in it. Yeah, that was really surreal. It was really awesome meeting all those people in real life for the first time at that event. Getting to
so
know them.
was that the what was the first time you felt like I'm pretty good at this? Like when did you feel like I think I'm pretty good at this?
Well, it was before I got into going to these races and doing events. Chance took me to the edge of a cliff and says, "We're gonna ride down this." And I'm like, "You're crazy." He's like, "No, dude, I've done it on my RS like all the time. We can do it. There's just some rocks you got to go over. Don't go around." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna follow you down." And he just flies down this thing, bouncing over the rocks. And he like pops one out, he slides, he pops back one on, like no biggie deal. I'm like, oh my god, like we're gonna break these things.
So you were not feeling
I,
the same. You weren't feeling the
I,
same enthusiasm or positivity at the time that he was.
I didn't know these things were capable of doing stuff like that until like I went down it. Sure enough, I had to step off once or twice, catch my breath, and make sure I didn't pee my pants. But most importantly is like, wow, like that was a huge feat making it down this. Wish I
And
got
then you just continued because it was that your first time feeling like off road, getting the off road vibe. Because not a lot of people do that. Some people just ride street only. So,
before I got into this, I was obsessed with snowboarding and
mhm.
downhill longboarding. And during I guess like very early in the pandemic, I was thinking, hey, like how far along is that skateboard technology with all the battery packs and motors? And I remember like the Razor scooters and stuff at like a few years prior was just like, you get a 2 miles range, you go 12 miles an hour. And
Right.
then like I Googled it, I'm like, holy crap, like you can get electric mountain board that can go off road, you can get bolt-on kits for your pre-existing longboards. Like crap, like I dropped 2 grand and I had the best time of my life zipping around town since it's like during the pandemic, no one's on the roads or the bike trails. So I
Hmm.
had the whole city to myself. And then I just kept falling on the rabbit hole of building off-road mountain boards where uh, source all the components and make the suspension very nice for going over rocks and weird awkward terrain. And but my downfall was is that I kept on riding it like a snowboard, and so I would tumble and get back up and like go down stuff I probably really shouldn't go down. I'd come home with like scrapes and scars, all you know pine needles and goat heads sticking out of my skin. Thinking like, huh, maybe a one wheel would probably be a better option because my best friend Larson Vince was riding one wheels and he's like, dude, you just get a one wheel. What the hell are you doing? Like you're killing yourself. And I'm like, I like the challenge. I need the speed. This is great. And he eventually showed me an electric unicycle, and I'm like, all right, I'm selling everything for this. Like double down. This is the way to go. I pushed this guy into all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
He was shy at first, but he was persistent trying to learn how to hop on one of these and take it down the road.
Yeah, I
We
think he got the hang of it.
want to go there now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's probably a good segue. Yeah, I was just about to turn 50. I was like literally hours from midnight, and I'm sitting there like taking care of my yard for this party we are going to have. And it was like during one of those windows of COVID where it's okay to hang out for a little bit. And so we have this party and lined up for the weekend. And uh, Zach and his one Cirque du Soleil friend, I think Larson, they're like, hey, you want to try these things? And they had a one wheel, a pint, and a rickety dented rim electric unicycle. And I was able to get like ride them in a circle like right away, And they're
Yep.
like, oh, hey, do you want to come on a group ride with us? I'm like, no, I got to take care of the yard and all this chores and stuff. And then I had one of those epiphany, like life changing moments that I'll never regret. And I'm like, you know what? People are going to have a good time at a party, even if the park isn't down. So let's go, guys. And we ended up doing like a 22-mile ride. I rode a one wheel pint until it ran out of gas, and they then I went on the other one wheel, and they were towing each other. So I see like what the unicycle was able to do versus the one wheels, and even the
Hmm.
guys that were pretty good on it, they're like, if you're really good, you can bonk a curb, you know. And I'm like, you see the other unicycles, and it's like, yeah, they're getting up over the curbs pretty easy. So the next morning, I'm on uh, Amazon ordering an MCM5 and following Zach
that didn't take
off
long.
the cliffs. Yeah. So anyone who wants to get better riding, they need somebody like Chance to just take them to the cliff and show them what's possible on these things. Hey,
Yeah,
Liv's
if
like my shirt. Hey, Liv.
yeah, lives in the
It's like
house.
Yoro's aboard. Are their
Yeah.
sack buddy.
So,
Super nice.
Stan is asked, and I left it up on the screen so I wouldn't forget. He says, "What EUC are the champs using for races?" They're asking
Bagode.
what you, Bagode. What are you racing on? Bagode what?
We're fanboys.
Yeah, but which wheel? What are you riding?
Master.
Some sort of master homogenation,
There
Maxter,
you go. They're driving a
Mm-hmm.
monster or master collaboration wheel.
Yeah, yeah, we've got a lot of wheels and have done just a lot of prototyping and creating our own suspension parts and stuff like that, and then working with other people in the community. Mention Roger again, amongst
Hmm.
others, and uh, just the amount of knowledge that everyone's willing to share, and tips and tricks. And I grew up in a race family. My dad built and raced race cars, so kind of grew up as a car guy.
Uh-huh.
Rode dirt bikes and stuff like that for fun. Never really competed in anything like this, and just there's a lot of things from those other 2 and 4 wheel race techniques and strategies that transfer over
Yep.
to one wheel
Racing
unicycle.
is definitely racing. So if you like racing and you bring over, and that's a fair thing to say, the ideology behind racing is still racing no matter what you're racing on. So once you get it down packed, you just make adjustments for whatever you're riding on. And you guys are definitely making those adjustments.
Sure.
Crazy
And
Eye
anyone
is.
out there who's apprehensive about getting in and doing it, I mean, you just put your name in the hat. It really doesn't
Mhm.
matter how you finish. Any race is a learning experience. I found does and uh, you meet a lot of great people and you have a great time, and you know you push yourself. You get the pre-race jitters; they're real. The adrenaline pumps, and it kicks into gear. And if you got focus and preparation, you just execute. It's nothing like it.
Well, you guys are both racing masters, and Crazy Eye asks, you guys think the master is still a viable race wheel with all of these higher power wheels coming out?
Well,
What?
we do have orders for some of the higher powered wheels on the way. Um, our current rig is basically a master with an EX30 controller and a
Mm-hmm.
C40 motor
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit nicer battery configuration, and maybe one
So
or two other little tweaks.
yeah, I knew that right up front, but I know
I
that's one thing. If you're friends with Roger or anybody like that that's a tinkerer, and then you guys are both like daredevils. You love the to race and you love the speed, and so I knew that was a thing. I'm like, there's no way they're riding stock wheels.
And I knew he and I would get along from, once I
Hmm.
started seeing the stuff he was putting out there. I think it was early in his Charger release, and he was one of the EVs riders. Zach was sponsored by
Hmm.
EVs. I was never sponsored, to clarify everything. Um, uh, but yeah, so I kind of saw him out there. I'm like, yeah, I bet I'd like that guy. And I didn't realize he was almost as old as me. So it's like, all right.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be like the only old guy out there, right? Now,
Nah, nope.
granted, I got a few years on Roger. He's not quite. He's not. I think he's a few off of 50, but
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. Well, Liv is in the house as you said, and Liv said that the big sack boys.
Hey,
keep him in the dressing
Uh,
room.
and of course, like you said, Yordle's in here. He's saying a whole bunch of stuff. What's up, man? My
You're
EUC
great.
journey. So
If I ever have a heart attack, I want Yoro in the room.
yeah, tell me about it. Oh, Chris Torino says he still has the ACM. Are you riding it though, Chris? You might be like Marty, you have a lot of things, but are you riding it? I can't see you riding the ACM now. The Frankenstein Maxter. That's what your wheel is.
Basically,
Uh,
I call it the Maxter, an
yeah.
homage of a previous dog.
no, I think he's talking about this one,
Oh,
this
that
piece.
thing.
Yeah, well,
So that was another one in the line of updates or
That
upgrades.
That was a wheel that Zach split in half.
Oh,
He split the chassis in
Oh, yeah.
half.
And
oh
then
And then
man.
to hold it all together, it needed this 3D printed housing.
Oh my God.
I welded the Chinesium together and put all this
Yeah.
extra aluminum in it, uh, and then
Actually,
he won it. Let it ride with that. And what other race did you use? Yeah, show him
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Wow.
The other side.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, this happened like a week or two before Amped in 2022.
Wow.
This was
Yeah,
Rev.
so
Rev
there was no time to airship it or snail mail it from the factory.
yeah,
So we had to do with what we got.
that was back when we actually put springs underneath here in line with the shocks. I found the right springs to use, and then we had a damper. The shock was just basically controlling the damp,
Hmm.
the oscillation.
Oh my God.
It was
Oh.
stiff. It had a lot of
It never
power. It had a lot of power when it compressed. So
it
it was kind
never
of like
bottomed out.
it never bottomed out, but it had a really cool pogo stick effect that allowed me to get some interesting stuff out of it. But riding
Oh
over
man.
like like somewhat rough terrain, it didn't do too well on.
Yeah, ultimately,
It felt
it's
stiff.
not what you want on your ride, but
Well, I'm
it was.
assuming so, since that is not what you still have on there. Thanks to EUC Sport for the super sticker. Appreciate you, buddy. So a V4. So you got a V4 with a C38, beeping at 58 with Nadia on it. Is that what he's telling me? Is that what you're doing right now? That's
Um,
Euro. Um,
Audio on it.
yes, it's my parking lot wheel.
That's
Wow.
tough. I don't know. I
Where's
saw a video of Nadia. She did over 60. So
yeah?
I
Well,
think I think
she was saying
Euro. You just need to refresh your video feed.
I don't know. I saw one where she said that people were
Over.
questioning whether she did 59, and I'm like, huh? I thought I could have swore I saw the video, and I did see 59. At least I thought I did.
62.
Yeah, so she probably
Roger.
did it again.
And
Yeah,
she's super light, so I think they'll she'll probably be able to push 65
I think so
before
too.
hearing the first beep.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't want her to though.
Oh, of
That's the
course
thing.
not.
Like, it
she does
scares
have
me.
power to weight ratio.
Yeah, the wheels
But
like is nobody's on me.
yeah, the unicycle is kind of unique in that regard, right? Because I mean, a typical thing, it's all about how much power versus weight, and that determines how quick you are. But the acceleration and the steering aspect of a unicycle requires body lean. And that's
Yeah,
why I think a lot of the lankier, taller riders, even though they're not like super light, right? They're able to manipulate the weight. I mean, I see Albert's on. I raced against him at Northwest Electric Fest last year, and
hmm
I couldn't believe he was behind me. To tell you the truth, I'm like, oh, there's no way this guy's going to keep up because he was over checking out the Extreme earlier, talking about how much he weighed. I'm like, dude, I got 100 pounds on this guy, and it was a photo finish.
yeah.
It really was. It was one of those.
Well, I always say you never know. People think that you know exactly what's up, and but you never know. You never know what's gonna happen. He said, "Fat riders are fast too."
Hell
Shouts out
yeah!
to you, Albert.
No, no, no. I nicknamed him Fast Albert after that.
So, Stan's asking, you guys got any tips for a casual rider on how to max out the speed? What do you got? What would you guys have for tips?
I do.
Just
Go
gonna
poop before you ride.
don't
Em-
poop or go poop.
Empty the tank.
Empty the tank.
Empty the
Hmm.
so why does that help with your speed? Wouldn't the poop weight help?
Because when you crouch down, you won't have to regret going in full gear before using the restroom.
All right. I'll give a.
But more so, the aerodynamic pose, keep your arms in front of you to break the wind. keep your chest forward, your back at a slight C curve, and just kind of like get in that chair pose.
Okay.
Yeah,
Get the
once you get above 40 miles an hour, the amount of air you're pushing becomes the really largest factor. And so the more aerodynamic, the more you can be head first, butt back. And that's where it's difficult to ride fast like that because uh, it's difficult to keep stability on the wheel and stay balanced, front to
Hmm.
back when you're bent over.
hmm Oh yeah, then you really got to strengthen up these muscles right here on your calf.
Yeah,
Uh
do yoga.
huh. Okay, so yoga, stand. That's the tip. Yoga.
Don't skip leg day.
Actually, I'll give a serious answer. And this is back. I think it's one of the sayings my dad used to say. You want to go fast, you got to learn how to go slow.
Hmm.
When he was teaching me how to ride a dirt bike, uh, I walk my dog with the EUC. She
Yeah,
loves it.
I do too.
She
That's fun.
asks me to walk twice a day.
Yep.
She doesn't always get a twice a day walk, but when we go out and she gets to go as fast as she wants, slow as she
Hmm.
wants, and I learned from actually our previous dog who is much smaller and liked to take a lot of frequent stops. I said, you know what? Not going to put my foot down. I'm just going to rock back and forth every time. And you get good at doing that, and it builds up the stability muscles in your just core and legs and just everything, and you learn how to react quickly to those slight imbalances that you get when you're going really really slow. And uh, I think that translates over to going fast, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I know that learning how to do that pendulum is really important. I still don't have it down.
You
and,
should have taken my class at Amped Electric Games, man.
well, yeah, I was a little busy.
I'll give you a private lesson next time. You're
Listen,
invited out to California. Got a place to
yes.
stay. We'll take you on some trails. We'll start with a pendulum lesson, and then we'll take you to the cliff that Chance takes us off.
Sounds great. Sounds fantastic. And I would love to be there because the last time I came out there in Rhode, I almost died. So I would love to come back and do the same thing. I almost died on the
No,
Marty ride. So
we'll
why
take
not?
you off the edge of Mount Baldy,
Yeah,
but
I already did
that
that.
looks like a fun ride. That's on
That
my
was,
to-do list.
yeah, it was fun, but I almost went over Mount Baldy and I almost lost it. I got the death wobble and almost lost it. So, Stan's asking, are manufacturers using your racing data for production EUCs? Um, I think that they have been paying a lot more attention lately over the last year and a half, especially than they ever did before. I don't know that they're using the specific racing data from um, specific individuals, but I know they are looking at. They were talking to Chance. And they were talking to other individuals when they were creating some of these wheels and taking their input and adjusting how they were manufacturing some of them. So I can answer that one for you, Stan. They are taking cues from some things, but I don't. I still don't think they 100% listen because they're still thinking about their pocket and how much they can make.
Um, Actually, Albert was communicating with the engineer at Bagode to see if they can increase the phase output or
Hmm.
basically have more power delivered to the motor, by all means, like open the floodgates. And he texted me one day and says, hey, download this test firmware. And it's, not, in their test folder under a weird name. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, this is weird. What am I doing? He's like, okay, try to cut out. Go as fast as you can. Like, see, try to get it to beep. And I'm like, you're crazy. And this is like 2 months after my really bad accident falling on my EX30 at 60
Oh my
miles an hour.
god.
And so I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. I got to redeem myself. And, sure enough, like it felt like it could take everything I could give it. I had my watch on, watching my pulse width modulation or safety margin. And sure enough, I was able to hit like 62, like 61, 62. But I don't know if that's super accurate, but relative to what I've done before, that's the fastest I've gone.
Were
And I
were
said,
you?
said
Did you
no,
have
I
a
said no more
GPS?
after that. Like this is crazy. I don't know if I want to go faster than this.
Did you have a
Yeah,
GPS on you, or you were just going by the wheel itself?
I was just going by the wheel itself,
Uh huh.
and I don't know. I don't think I'd want to push it any more than that.
Did you
No
feel
matter
at
what.
that time? Did you feel at that time that you were too light to push it any further? Did you feel
There
like
was a
you're?
lot of wind. There was a lot of wind resistance, but if I felt if I leaned any further, I would have been like almost into a swan dive in front of my wheel. I hit like a little bump, I would probably go down.
Yeah,
Well,
and when you're crouched down like that, trying to hit a top speed, and it's like you're pushing the edge of the wheel.
mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, especially once it starts to get floaty. I don't know if you guys have ever had that feeling where the pedals just kind of float a little bit. It's kind of probably right before a beep or a cutout. Uh,
Scary.
it's not a pedal dip because I've seen people do that and recovered. Zach's done that. He did that at Northwest 22. Um,
Yeah, that was pretty cool to get on camera.
yeah, that was in the speed challenge with a V1 Master. So yeah, he's definitely been pushing it. But yet, you get to that edge, and you're like one little undulation in the road or twitch in the if the wheel just hits a bump a certain way and kicks forward just right, that wasn't you trying to input like that, but it's what happens. So
Yeah,
that's probably
it's
what's happening in that cutout tunnel in New York City. I've never been in it, but
well, cutout
good
tunnel is
momentum it
it's
got.
it's pretty cool. I've been there, and I think that was the fastest I went. I think I only went like 48, 47, 48. That was the fastest I've gone. But it definitely has a weird feeling because you're in a tunnel and it cuts out a lot of the wind. But the surface is not perfect, and it is short. So you saw. I know you probably saw. Um, Sean was just doing it recently on one of the wheels and trying to reach 60. And I don't know. Albert's asking who's going to be the first to hit 70 miles per hour.
Well, I saw somebody post it's Roger, so well, Chris says Roger, so yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what?
you're
If the wheel had the headroom, I would try. I would put on that suit right behind me and gear up.
I'd like to try it on the ET Max.
okay. Well, you probably gonna get your wish. I'm sure you got one on the way, right?
It's on the way.
Yeah.
Well, I have somebody asked me. I forgot. Stan, you asked about the master. I do have a master for sale if anybody wants one. I got too many wheels. I got that little wheel. The A2 was my fourth wheel. I'm like, this is too many, and I want the ET Max also. So I think I'm gonna sell this one and get that one at some point. I'm in no rush. So, um,
Yeah. I've gone from having like, a wheel for each purpose to backup wheels for those wheels.
for you got
And
a
the
backup wheel for each purpose.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It's hard because it's hard to not get every wheel that comes out. You want it. You just and I know you feel like a child because you're like, I don't need every wheel, but it's hard when they come out with another new wheel that you're loving and you're like, well, I kind of want that new wheel. And it's hard to say no to yourself. I know that's how it is with me.
Yeah.
But they're so
And
expensive.
and I personally can't see selling something that I beat the crap out of like we do. So I've been finding excuses. We have family around across the country, so so far I've got a master out at Uncle John's house in New York.
Oh, okay.
And mom lives in Florida, so we'll probably get a wheel out there because you guys know what it's like when you get
Yep.
off of a plane and you don't got your wheel.
It sucks. It sucks. I will tell you that. I went out to Cali and I rode Mount Baldy, but I was only able to ride because Roger loaned me the wheel, and it was a Commander Pro like I have, so I felt great having a wheel like mine. Well, like the one I was riding at that time. And I beat it down to zero. Like it was beeping at 3%. I had to give it to Dawn because she's lighter than me and let her ride it the last mile because I
I
I
think
was
I think I've seen some of that
yeah
video.
I was tilted all the way back. Beep 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 beep. I was like, oh, and I started the day feeling really good, and then by the end of the day, I was like, I guess I can drain a battery. So, but it is what it is. Um, have
Well, you
you
tried to
ridden?
take a shortcut over the edge of the road.
I did. I did. I tried. I was trying to see. They asked me if I could beat them down, and I figured that was the fastest way to beat them down the
Yeah, Roger, I'll beat you down on helicopter.
hill. So, hold on. Oh, Liv says their ET Max shows up on Saturday. All right, Liv. Okay, I think that's what you're talking about. Jules, what's up, Jules? Jules is in the house.
It shows up on Saturday, but
Yeah, dude.
isn't the race on Friday?
Yeah, so that's probably too late. What's the best wheel to race right now?
What race? What track?
uh,
Which
I,
one? I mean, it's
excuse
a
me.
different answer, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, the Commander Pro GT, the ET Max, and what else? The Lynx. I think those are gonna probably be front runners, but like you said, it depends on the track. I think it depends on the track. It depends on the racer also, because it depends. Certain racers, like different wheels. Some people are more Begode lovers. But I'm betting that GT Pro is going to win a few people over. That's my guess. But we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I,
Um, and also it's not always about the wheel. I mean, Zach used basically a rental wheel from EVs, and uh,
Oh yeah,
that was at Shredfest when he slid out and almost took first place. So he almost won the race on a used wheel, and that was a Commander Pro, right?
yeah, yeah. I didn't really have much time to learn that wheel, but I did like the feeling that I could lean as hard as I could into it and not have to worry about anything dipping because it had all that. I had a lot of power in that regard.
hmm
But most importantly, going back to your question, like what's a good ideal race wheel? It's, anything that's not too heavy, I would say. Like the EX30 is kind of pushing it for off road. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
too
a
much.
little too heavy. I'd even say the Commander Pro is kind of a little iffy taking off road just because it's just so top heavy. But if you have the leg strength, you
Mm,
can maneuver that thing however you please. But then again, you're wasting up a lot of energy doing that. But those wheels, if you were to take it to a track, all day, you would have no issues. It would serve you very well. And especially having that counterweight allows you to lean over the wheel just a little bit more,
hmm
I think is paramount. But
Well,
most
I
importantly, just having a lighter wheel would just ultimately serve you.
so what do you like off road then? You said a lighter wheel. Like what?
uh, the master. I haven't been persuaded other ways. I would say the Lynx would come up as a good contender to that wheel.
Yeah, that's what I was
Uh,
thinking.
I haven't had too much experience with that wheel, but I think if you were to dial in the suspension to however you are comfortable with doing the track, then I think it would
Yeah.
be a good wheel.
Yeah. When it comes to off road, you can't understate having like not just a good suspension, but it's got to be set up like just right for you for that track. And and good grip tire, and having your feet locked in just right, and just if you're comfortable with your setup, you can do really well. I mean, I raced a V11 for the first year or so of my racing, and beat a lot of more famous people with bigger voltage wheels. It's not
You say
necessarily
that, and I think was it 2 years, two, three, probably 3 years ago now. I had one of my wheel life rallies that I had was indoor, and the indoor race was a lot different, and I took the grand championship on a V11 because the V11 is higher off the ground and it corners. I could corner so deeply and not worry about scraping and not worry about anything, and I was able to maintain a little bit of speed, just enough because you didn't have long straightaways, so it didn't take a super powerful wheel, but it was those corners that you needed, and I had
yeah.
just enough on that V11 to take the grand championship.
No,
So,
that's a great wheel for a lot of EUC riders out there. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Uh, it's one I gave or sold. Don't remember to my brother, and he's looking to buy the reissues. I'm glad to see they're kind of keeping that design going.
Hmm.
It's
Mhm.
a nice narrow wheel. It's
Yeah, I
pretty light.
just I just over I think it's not enough power for me now. I guess I kind of feel like I push too hard now.
Hmm.
You know, not that I'm racing, but I just feel like I need more, and that I
Well, you
outgrew it.
probably need a little more suspension than that V11 can handle.
Yeah, those thin rods were not good enough for my fat butt. So I needed a little bit more girthy suspension for my girthiness. So Chris Torino says the Lynx for off road and the ET Max for racing. I think you might be right there, Chris. I think you might be right. Sounds about right. Um,
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how the ET does off road. That might
yeah,
be another wheel that falls into the a
yeah.
little too. I don't know. We'll see.
John Darnell says that V11 still rips.
Yeah, he's put some miles on that. That was a first gen too.
Hmm.
I bought it from Zach.
Yeah, it was
We
so.
kept it in the family, Cobra. It's what we do.
Yeah, you got to do that if you have the ability. I wish I had family members that wanted to ride because I definitely would do the same thing. Oh, Pete Lee's in here. Pete has my V11. I sold it to him. What's
There you
up,
go.
Pete?
See more V11 fans.
Hmm.
That's it. And Pete's still riding that V11, right? Or did you upgrade to something else, Pete? Let's see.
I'll never
Uh,
forget the first time stepping on that thing. It was so tall. I'm like,
yep.
I'm never gonna learn how to ride this thing.
A lot of people said that, and then once they rode it a few times, they're like, oh, okay. Once you get used to it, it's like second nature, and I kind of miss the height. I like
Yeah,
that height.
a couple dog walks later, and I'm comfortable with any wheel.
Yeah. Chris says the V11 is not big boy approved. Well, look, I never cut it out. The only time my V11 ever tasted any dirt was when I gave it to Anthony Edwards. Anthony dropped my V11 day one. I got my V11 and I let him try it. He drops it all nervous. I'm like, hey! And he scraped it up. I was so mad.
On the
Yeah.
second day of owning it, I blew the motherboard. I was
Oh,
so confident. I was flying down a hill at probably 80% battery. I was not braking. I was actually accelerating. So I wanted to go faster and faster. And I thought for sure, I just, over torqued it or whatever. But no, I like blew the whole motherboard and the motor locked up. I had to carry it home.
wow. You had to do the walk of
So fun.
shame.
Yeah.
uh, oh, so Pete, the guy with my V11, says he's got an ET Max coming. Liv said the ET Max crew. She said, I would like to
Yeah,
find
ET
what?
boom boom.
Yeah. I would like to find a small ET stuffy in a small basket to put on the front of the wheels. Stop it, Liv. I know you're gonna find it too.
I
I can
hope you
see
do.
you. I can see you doing that, Liv. Cause you're not.
Let's go.
Yeah.
um.
What a great
So
organizer too.
all right, so before I go too far, I did want to talk about I talked about Zach and some of what you've done, but um James, you were the one that really surprised me because like you said, you started racing late like me. We're older, so we're like, "Hey, we can do this too." and but you've done a whole lot of racing. Everywhere I go, it seems like you're there, and it surprises me. You know, um, so you had in April. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna say that. But in 22, Shredfest Pro fourth on your V11. That was your first race. And then in 22, the Northwest Electric Fest, the Pro Circuit, you're in sixth, first
Still be
division,
open.
still on the V11. In 22, AVS Amateur Division, first place. That was your first road race, you said. And
First
20,
major, first road race. Yeah, first time on a street tire. We
yeah,
always
that
yanked them off and put a Shinko on. I've never had a wheel with a street tire prior to ABS that year. Yeah.
nice. Then 2023 Eastgate Con exhibition with Drew 10th and finished fifth. Um,
Stupid movie showed up on EX30s on that little course. Yeah.
yeah, that was too many turns and too tight for that. Let It Ride, Let It Ride 2 Pro, third place. Shred Fest Pro, seventh place. Northwest Electric Fest, these are 23.
Mhm.
23 Amateur, first place. 23 AVS Sportsman's Class, first place. So this it's a lot of history, and it what kills me is that you didn't start out like you said. Your son got you into it, and then you decided to continue. And now I feel like I see you even more than I see Zach. I'm like, wait a minute. I met Zach, and then I'm like, wait, oh, okay, you ride too. And then I'm like, I always see you. Like, you're everywhere.
Yeah. Well, we kind of have a history of snowboarding together, and that was kind of our thing over the
Gotcha.
years. Him growing up, and like he mentioned earlier, that was one of his passions. So, I have a buddy of mine that does downhill mountain biking that does some single track with us. Actually, he's got an e-bike, uh, but he's a great boarder, and his family they live down the street. They all grew up together with their boys, and so we all went snowboarding together, and that was kind of our thing. So when he got into this unicycle thing, and like I said, once I hit 50, I'm like, I'm going to learn this thing. And it was like the greatest feeling once you're not thinking about it, and you're just and I'm sure everybody on this chat remembers the first time that you figured out that you're not thinking about turning and stopping and what to do. You're just
Mm-hmm.
going. You're just
Mm-hmm.
leaning wherever you want to go, and just that amazing feeling that you know you get every time you get back on. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
that feeling of freedom that you get when you really finally feel it. That feeling of freedom is what I try to explain to a lot of people, and not everybody gets it, but I try to get them to understand that that feels like flying. I tell them it's the closest thing to flying while still on the ground. and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you don't feel that until that moment that you just mentioned. When that moment hits you and you're like, "Aha, I got it." It's pure magic. Pure
yeah, yeah.
magic.
Like Melissa says, it's addicting. Uh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and it's tough not to talk about it to people, and try to get them to do it. And it's amazing how few of my friends have been willing to give it a shot.
Yeah. Excuse me. I do the same thing. I spend my time trying to get people to try it. And I always end up with the same thing. I ain't doing that. And I'm like, just trust me, you're
I
gonna
kill
love
myself.
it.
Then my wife would kill me.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are exactly the words.
But yeah,
I know
I
I'd kill
think
myself.
the real reason that I'm probably addicted to all these events and races uh, stems from that very first Shredfest 2022. Um, I didn't know any of the internet YouTubers or anybody. I mean, Seth Johnson was there interviewing Chance. I had no idea who he was. He was talking about this amped electric games thing he was going to put together. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, right? So I had no idea who any of these people were, but I qualified third, right behind Zach and Chance. And we all showed up there together. It made it to the pros with like people like Shibby, who at the time I didn't know. Zavala, I had no idea who he was, right? Chooch, I had no idea. So I had no reason to be intimidated. All I said to myself is, you know what? Just do your best. You may not be able to keep up with Zach and Chance, but you never know. Well, it turns out Shibby fell. I think Zavala fell. Chooch and I bumped into each other here or there, and I messed up and I skipped a part of the course. Um,
Oh.
so I ended up finishing third, and they penalized me a spot down the fourth. But that initial reaction on Zach's face when he's like, "What, my dad?" I will never forget that. And then when I realized what happened, Zavala comes over the line. He's go, when did you pass me? And I'm like, oh shit, I think I messed because that was like I said, they changed the track for
Ah,
the finals to do that Suron run,
gotcha.
and I thought we were gonna skip this little tiny single track, and I didn't realize that you could get to there from the end of that little trail. And then what really, after you're done kicking yourself in your butt, going, man, what a stupid move did I make? That's where I got senior e moment Instagram name because what a fucking senior e moment I just made. And uh so I'm like, you know what? There's my new Instagram name. But it got me to think. It's like, you know what? Just put your name back in the hat, and the more times you're doing it, the you know things will
Yep.
happen.
Well, Joro says speed gives me chills of dopamine and serotonin. It's like being in a different dimension. It is. The feeling of flight that you get, the amazing like I don't even know what to call it. I mean, you're hitting it on dopamine and serotonin. I mean, you're hitting it on the head, but it's hard to explain that to people. It's hard to get people to really see what you mean when you say it's like flying, I swear. And they're like, I don't believe you. And you're like, I'm telling you, that's what it's like. So I have not been successful yet with convincing somebody until they get on. They don't hear me, they don't believe me until they actually learn how to ride. And then they reach back out and they're like, you were right.
We were trying to get my wife's ex mom to ride AUCs for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very sporadic and hit and miss, and it was very difficult for us to motivate her to want to do it. Uh, and then Albert came and stayed with us before Albert Qua, two cell one pack,
Uh-huh.
uh, came came to stay with us before AVS, and he gave her a lesson. And just having somebody else, a third party, giving
Yeah.
instruction versus a friend or family member, I think that makes a really big difference in how the instruction is received.
I agree. I agree. I know that I've never been able to teach anybody in my family, but then Showtime was at the Wheel Life rally, not this one, but the one before, and my son was there. working, and he brought one of his friends. Well, he brought a couple of his friends, but one of his friends wanted to try it, so she gave them a lesson, and she's like passing it off to me. I'm like, no, 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 keep going, because they wanted to learn from someone else, not me. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine with me, as long as they learn. I don't care who they learn from. Um, and then I tried to continue when I got home, and he got a little frustrated, and I said, well, there it goes. it's, it's one of those things. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but when you can get other family members to enjoy it, I mean, not to get them, but expose them to it and let them, learn to love it like we did. Uh, it's just such a great thing to do, right? Once my wife Kim was able to uh, get past that one point what I just described earlier, where she's not really thinking about it anymore and just do it. She's like, "Oh yeah, we're going down all these bike trails. We end up going to a place for lunch, and just made like a great afternoon date out of it. That you know, I
yeah,
hope to do a lot more of."
that's a great idea, and I say that all the time. But they don't always hear me. Like I said that to my wife and my kids. And tomorrow I'm actually going. I mean, I live in Massachusetts. My daughter goes to school in Rhode Island. I'm gonna take the train down to Rhode Island. I have to get her car fixed, so I'm gonna ride the wheel from the train station to her dorm, pick up her car, take it to get fixed, and then ride back. Excuse me. And this is my first ride of the season. So, because when it gets cold and snowy and wet and stuff, I put the wheel away. I'm not riding in the bad weather. I'm a fair weather rider. So this is going to be my first opportunity to jump back on the wheel, and I'm excited because it's once you learn how to ride, any excuse. So I keep telling my wife, I'm like, hey, we could take the train, go somewhere, and then go for a ride, learn a new city, and then ride back, jump on the train, and zip home. We
Yeah,
don't have to drive, no tedious driving. We can relax, and I really would love to do that, but you know, I can't convince her to do it, and especially after I got injured, that was it. Once that happened, I knew it was a wrap. I was like, they're never gonna ride. So, you know,
understandable, and maybe EUCs aren't for everyone. I mean, I'm sure they'll
mhm.
get autonomous enough that you'll just step on a platform and you won't have to do anything. It'll just be kind of idiot proof at
Yeah.
some point, right? And then we'll all be talking about the good old days when you had to ride your EUC, right? Uh, you know,
Yeah. Well,
maybe maybe
Devos.
another PEV, maybe just like for example, we went up to I grew up in Buffalo. It's where Uncle John lives still,
Mhm.
and so I know snow. And so I think we take the weather out here for granted, man. The fact you're just learning, like starting to ride now, and then it's
Mhm.
like I'm like, oh, it's only 55 today and sunny. I may not go riding. It's like
Yeah.
you know,
Where I'm like,
um,
oh, it's 55 and sunny.
yeah, that's where the dog's like, no, we're going, let's go. Uh, but what were we saying? What were we just saying?
Devo's saying, "What's up, Darnell family?"
Evo.
What's up,
Yeah,
dude?
what's up, Devo? Yeah, there
Yeah, yeah.
is.
I was saying, seeing another city is like the best way to do that. So when I went to Buffalo, I met up with some people there. Um, you know, people that you don't see online, especially. I mean, this one guy's riding for like 12 years. So like, I didn't even know they existed for 12 years. Super fast seated rider. I'm like, you got to come to the races, man. He's like, will they let me race seated? I'm like, hell yeah, they will. But it's such a great way to see a city. Did Buffalo? Went on a trip with Uncle John in Rochester, and we took off for a night and cruised around. Uh, Took the wife up to Toronto, and she rented an electric bike, and we went on a group ride with E-Rider A and his team. He does his Friday group rides. Shout out to those guys in Toronto; they're all great. Came down through Niagara Falls, rode around there, checked out. The fireworks were going off every Friday, Saturday night. During the summertime. And you're just zipping around. It's awesome. Everyone else is walking. You feel sorry for them.
And that's funny because I feel that way a lot of times, and I'm like, is it me, or should I feel bad for these poor guys walking? But then I'm like, yeah, but I'm the one with the fat gut while I'm riding around, so I'm like, maybe they're the ones should be laughing at me. But we want to go to Canada. We have plans to go there. Hopefully this year sometime. My wife really wants to go, and the first thing I think of is, ooh, we can ride around. I bought her an e-bike, but unfortunately, I'm having issues with it. It was malfunctioning. I had to replace a part. Still ain't working, so I'm probably gonna send it back and try and get a replacement. But I'll probably bring that e-bike and see if I can get her to ride that while I ride my wheel. Because that's what I want to do is ride my wheel in all these cities. And now, since Saturday was my retirement from the military, woohoo!
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes, I completed my 20-year journey.
So you're going to have lots of time to come out to California to ride with us.
Yes, that's the whole idea, and I want to be able to do that and take a zip around different cities all around the country, and outside the country too. I want to go all over. So my plan is to make that happen, and it's gonna. I just don't know how long it's gonna take. But I got one more year in the police department, and then it's really on. But I got a lot of plans to do that, and it's just what I want to do. I want to go town to town, city to city, country to country, and ride around. Just take my wheel with me and jump on the wheel and ride. So that's the plan. You will see me in a city near you probably sometime soon. As a matter of fact, I'll pull something up here so you guys can take a peek. Let's see here.
I can't
There
think
you,
of a better
there
way to
you
spend.
go. That's me receiving the flag after they folded it for me and presented it to me at my retirement this Saturday. Feeling really, really good. um, but yeah, I'm feeling good mostly because I feel like it's gonna put me in a position to do what I want. Uh, and that's what we're talking about here today: riding, riding, riding. Oh, I forget you guys can't see it over there.
Nice photo.
No, we can see you.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
you
got it
got
up
it?
on the phone. It's just a real tiny shot. It's a nice
Yeah,
photo.
you're dressed very sharp.
Sharp
Well,
dress, man.
well, you
Yeah.
got your phone out. Keep your phone out and tell me who this guy is.
Who's that, Steve-O?
There's a delay. We gotta wait for the delay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me.
And then we got a nice shot of the two of you. That seems like a little while ago, Zach. You seem a lot younger in this next photo.
Yeah, that's amped a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. And then we got James in his leather gear.
Oh, what was that taken?
The one, the Northwest Fest.
Oh, you
Oh,
got it.
here we go. Here we go. Zach on that lean you were talking about. But you had your hands behind you actually on this one. You weren't cutting the wind on that.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, see, that's kind of what I was saying about getting your head front and your butt back.
Yeah, it's the Frankenstein wheel.
And then of course, let's see. I got some trophies and a trophy or two trophies there. Did you win the wheel too? You got a wheel on a stand or that? No, that's just next to you. I don't think you won that one.
No, I've never won a wheel.
No? Oh
Yeah,
well,
you're
put
right.
it on your put it on your list of things to do.
Oh yeah.
James
Yeah,
Ah,
that was
on that
Northwest.
number one podium.
yeah.
He
Northwest.
he swept at Northwest. He won like fastest, bonk contest, all kinds of stuff. Or
No,
tied
Shibby.
shibby,
No,
tied
Shibby.
shibby,
No,
or
he won.
Shibby
Shibby beat
won.
me at the bonk contest.
On the bonk, yeah.
I
It's
think we got to bring that back for Amped this year.
well, this year we are bringing the games back. So just so you
Well,
know,
let's just say it was down to him and Shibby, and they were each bonking off of a curb over 3 feet in the air. I think
that's
38 inches is where they maxed.
that's crazy.
Dude, that's
That's
like
crazy.
bonking into a loading dock. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just to me. That's just wild. I can't even imagine. I can't
And
imagine
someone who
doing that.
obviously doesn't care for the rims.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, going against Shibby is a brave
Oh yeah,
thing.
for show Scott.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I
Show.
like that one with
I
Show.
joke that show was my other half son.
Yeah.
There's a couple people, Brian Dillard, maybe a couple others.
Matt Burt.
Yeah, yeah, Zen Lee maybe as well. Yeah, I had used to have hair, rock and roll hair too.
Uh, excuse me. Well, I can tell you that I have a feeling that you guys will be racing for a long time. I know that James, you're going to be doing as much as you can because I can I get the same vibe from you that I put out, and that is age is just a number, and we're gonna do whatever we can possibly do until we can't do it no more. So
Yeah, yeah, they're obviously not gonna start an over 50 category just for me. So, uh,
yeah,
it's
well,
a great motivator, man. It keeps you in shape, keeps you something to look forward to, and go, okay.
that's for sure. That's for sure. But it's great that you can share it with your son. And sometimes I get a little like super jealous because I would love to be able to share it with my son. And I see you guys together doing it, and I just it means a lot that you guys are able to do that. So I mean, I want you to continue. I know that I don't have to say it because you will anyway, but keep enjoying it. That's the biggest thing. Is it's fun, and that fun shows through to others, and that's what I want us to continue to do, is to continue to give others that vibe that we have, and we all have it. Like there's something about riding the wheel. It draws our type of people to it, and
It
I think
reduces
it's
stress, so
magic.
the community is much lower stress than other communities. So
Yeah,
it helps. Everyone's just. It seems really great at almost every event I've been to.
yeah.
Some of them are more race oriented, some are more festival like, and it's just they're the people that go to both. Some go to both, and some just prefer the festivals. But it's
Yeah,
they're all
It's always fun.
just us getting together. Uh, Vibes. Thanks for the sticker, brother. just just us getting together is a positive thing. It's a great feeling, and no matter what kind of event it is, whether it's a group ride, whether it's a festival type gathering, or whether it's a serious race event, it doesn't matter. Us all getting together is always a positive vibe, and I really love it. I look forward to us getting together more than anything else. Like, yes, I love the races and I love watching people ride, and but us getting together and just sharing the camaraderie and positivity and energy that we have, it's like magic. And I know that every time we get together, I'm like, oh, it's almost time to go home, and I don't I don't want to go home. Like, I just want to
yeah.
continue what we're doing. So
It
I
it
know
it
that I'm not alone.
it feels like a big extended family in that
It does.
regard.
It truly does, and that's what I'm looking forward to every time. So the question was put in there. I don't think I put it up. You guys are way over there, but there are planes that could bring you way over here. And the Wheel Life Rally is August 4th. So the question is, are you guys gonna make it our way? So I forgot to put it up. Stan, I didn't forget you. Um, it was Stan and somebody else, I think, both asked. So I put it to you guys. Are you gonna make your way this way to come see us, since we're always coming over there to Sunnytown?
We'll certainly try our best.
Is it gonna? It's in Massachusetts,
It
or
is.
is that in
It is in Southwick, Massachusetts, and
what's
it's
the one that's in Raleigh?
in where? In Raleigh?
Raleigh.
No, that's oh, I
Oh,
forget
that's
the name
Oak
of it.
City.
Yeah, Oak City, and there's another one down that way too. Yeah, Oak City. So that's another one. But I mean, I know you guys are used to sunny California out there, and nice place and everything, and it's great. But summertime you can make a round to nice places too.
Bentonville's pretty nice.
Yes, Bentonville's another one. We got to make it there. So, to answer your question, guys, they said they'll certainly try. So I can tell you right now,
I'm already getting masters over into New York, so that's getting close. So
there you
we'll
go.
see.
New
We can
York is
fly
right.
into New York in a short road trip. We can
Yep,
probably make it happen.
New York's right up the street.
Yeah, yeah. If I can get my master Malasol working out there, I would race that.
Hold on I'm sorry, something's going on. I could hear something through the floor upstairs, and my wife's up there. Yeah, so I would say Amped Electric Games, of course, 100% everyone needs to make. If you can make it out to the East Coast, the Real Life Rallies, August starts on the night of the afternoon of the 3rd. We're going to be setting up, and then most of the races are going to be on, well, everything will be on the 4th, August 4th, and then Amped will be the first week in September. And then, of course, there's a couple other events that we are putting on the calendar, but those two and AVS, I think those are the three events that you just kind of have to make, and if at all possible. And then of course there's Oak City, and there's a couple of other events that just popped up this year that I, of course, right now having a senior E moment, can't remember the name of them, but um,
Can't
I'll
forget
be
about Shredfest.
Shred Fest. There you
Shred,
go.
Seek and Shred, Shredfest 4.
Yeah. So
Wiselyville,
there's
California.
Here, man, take one of these.
I need one. My wife gets mad at me all the time. She's like, "Your memory is crap." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I can't help it. But it is what it is." EUC Sports says, "Wheel Life Rally." That's right, baby. Wheel Life Rally. Excuse me.
Yeah,
So
Shredfest and Northwest Electric Fest are really
there you
fun as
go.
well. Again, they're more festival like, but the race aspect is significant and getting better every year.
I would honestly love to make it to every event given around the entire country. I really would, and that's my goal. Um, you know, as next year ends or starts to, maybe by April, I will be completely free to start doing things. But that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to make it to every event. The only problem is then I got to make sure I get a wheel to every event. So we'll see. I'd really like to get an RV and just put everything in it and make my way around everywhere. So that's why I was jealous when Shibby these
Yeah,
guys got the van. I was
he
like,
got
wait a
he's
minute.
got, he's got a sick van from a
Yeah,
Microsoft employee or ex
yeah,
Microsoft employee.
yeah. Him and Kelly. Oh man, that van. I was like, woo, woo, woo. So we'll see.
No, he
Um,
bought it. It was already tricked out pretty nice.
yeah, it was perfect for them. Honestly, they were showing me all the little things that they had set up in there, and I was just super like into it. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But not
Yeah,
everybody can get one, so and they
we
they lucked out,
borrowed
like you
an
said.
airbag between events. We got a tour.
Yeah. Can't wait for Amped and Real Life Rally. That's vibes. Yes, vibes. That's right, my friend. All right, so let me ask you
Amp
guys
is
this.
definitely an experience. It looks like this year is going to be at a different location and like closer to, uh, where the races will
It,
be, and
it's gonna,
that's going to
yeah,
be a game changer. And it was already so fun. I mean, just
yeah.
that whole area is great.
Yeah, it's gonna be near the Thunderdome. It'll be closer to there, and we won't have to go travel back and forth. So most of the stuff will be happening around the Thunderdome, and we're going to be bringing back all the games and stuff like that. So it's going to be pretty amazing. A little change up, and we'll see how we like it this year. But I think it's going to be for the best to keep us in that other area because thoroughly enjoyed the Thunderdome and all that whole area had to offer. So I think it's going to be pretty magical. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
But let me ask you guys this:
I see
what would you say is your number one? I know you gave a couple tips earlier, but what would you say is your number one tip that you would give to someone who you thought was doing really well and probably was going to be a competitive rider? Is there anything else you can think of besides what you guys gave already?
Proper pad placement.
That's a good one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's like it. I think it's like anything, right? If you've got somebody else looking at you, whether it's a video or just riding behind you, I think that's where you'll start to pick up things. Um, I don't know, but maybe I overanalyze a little bit, but I'll geek out with people like La Luxina and like guys like that because they kind of think about this in a similar way about I'm kind of squeezing my knee up against one side and using
Mm-hmm.
my two sides of my foot on the other side in order to create a triangle, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
keeping the wheel more upright in these turns, especially on loose conditions and off road.
You sound like him.
Yeah, I know we sat across from each other after doing a ride. I think it was it Let It Ride or Eastgate Con or one of those events. And yeah, that's when I became not only his biggest fan but his oldest fan.
No, I think I got you beat. I think I
I don't
got
know.
you beat. I got you by a year.
I'll be 53 in April.
You
You
be
got me?
what? Yeah.
I'll be 53 in April.
Oh, I got you by more than a year. I'm 54 now.
All right, I'm catching up though.
Yeah, but you'll never catch me.
No, no, you're gonna slow down in retirement. I have a feeling.
Well, we're definitely not talking about a track because you could definitely catch me on a track. So I am going to wrap it up. I just want to say thank you again, you guys, because this is what I wanted, just to get you guys together, and give these guys a chance to ask questions. And I'll give it one more chance. Anybody out there got one more question that wasn't answered throughout what we were talking about so far that you might have wanted to ask, either James or Zach? You got another minute to put your question up, and I'll post it up. Excuse me.
Hey,
Oh, hold on,
and,
hold on. I already got
and
one.
while you're waiting for that, shout out uh, to the people that helped me at ABS like throughout that whole weekend and trials before that. We did a practice session with Roger and everyone who showed up that day. Um, uh, when I slid out in time before time trials and broke my thumb, uh,
Oh,
trying to pass Brian Dillard. Um,
oh,
yeah, he stopped, show stopped, and I think Mario also gave me some tips. They all kind of said, hey, try this, try that, right? So to your point, about you know what tips can you give somebody, right? It was only because they were riding behind me and I was pushing it to my limits that they were able to say, hey, try doing this. And it's just one of those things that just clicks. And fortunately, it was in time, for the actual race.
mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, shout out to all those guys. And I hope I didn't miss anyone. Oh, Albert definitely was a huge help in setting up for ABS. So thank you.
Well, EUC Vibes asks, any advice for cornering? I see guys lean all the way to the side. It's wild but effective. So, what would you guys say for cornering? What's your tip?
The key to cornering is it just like any sport, it translates. You got to lower your center of gravity, right? You're pushing the grip of the tire. Your suspension at that point doesn't really come into play very much. You're really relying on the edge of the tire. So, um, you want to be careful with lean angles. Of course, the more lean angle you can get, the lower your center of gravity is going to be. But of course, you start scraping, then you really need to get your body down to make up for that. Now, I personally installed handles on my road rig, and I use those in certain moments of a turn to help stabilize the wheel, and it helps me to accelerate out of the corner. So I think that, you know, when I think of Zach's slide outs, he's sliding out in turns. He's pushing the edge of the grip as much as it'll go, and eventually it's going to slide out, and you're going down.
And that's something that people are worried about because that edge of the grip, we only have that one tire. So it's nerve wracking. So you said
Yeah,
you put handles on yours and you're worried about the edge of
yeah,
the
yeah.
tire.
You
What
gotta
what do
get
you
your tires heated up too. When I slid out, I trying to pass Brian, it was in the first lap, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take it easy. You know, first lap of the day was early and cold, and he passed me, and I go, oh, somebody that I can follow behind and learn from,
right?
and it was too soon to do that. So you got to make sure that your grip, whether your tires need to heat up for the track or whether you just got wet leaves on a trail, you just got to know your conditions as you're approaching it, and that's kind of the scary thing about EUCs, but it's also kind of the challenge and the beauty of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're
What
you're analyzing so much stuff, especially in off-road conditions, and you're just pushing yourself and to the limits of these little wheels under our feet, and just yeah, uh,
so Zach, what do you feel when you're cornering? What's going through your mind as you're cornering?
I think the most important part is keep looking forward, watch your line, make sure your apex is where it needs to be, and like I said before, keep your chest forward, your head up, your body weight mostly forward. But most importantly is keeping a lot of force on your outside foot to keep the wheel a bit more level. Because, like my dad was
Uh-huh.
saying, there's a point to where the tire will give out, and it's much easier to give out when it's more vertical on its side versus having. I'm sorry, when the wheel is more slanted, it's going to want to slide out easier versus when it's more vertical.
Gotcha.
It's kind of having that consistent force on your outside foot.
so if this is the turn, you're keeping it up a little bit more and just doing more of a twist.
Mm-hmm.
That's typical of what you do on an off-road, especially.
Uh-huh.
But as you get down and your pedals start scraping, you want to do that a little bit too. So that's what
Yeah.
he's saying. You weight the outside. And some of the tips that Mario and Show and those guys were giving were exactly that, about weighting. They're actually talking about weighting. I needed to weight my inside foot because I was doing too much on the outside. So it's one of
Uh-huh.
those things that you play with.
Yeah, but more so of keeping your body weight less in front of the wheel and kind of more back. So you're kind of like moving from acceleration more into neutral as you're
So
kind of like
that's for the
getting.
turn. So you're
Yeah.
saying so because you were saying to keep your chest out and to lean forward over the wheel, but you're saying when you go to do turns, you pull that center of gravity back and not so much
Just
out in front of the
just a
wheel.
little bit, because there's situations to where your tire could skip a little bit when
Right. And that's
and
what we're worried about.
and
Yeah,
you're not having the best balance there.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's
and
what scares me when I see these things and I see people riding and skidding out is it scares me to think that if that tire loses traction, that's all I got. So when I see people slide out, it's very nerve-wracking to me. So it's good to
yeah,
know what you guys are thinking and feeling. That whole
yeah.
putting the pressure on the outside as you're turning or whatever, I just slow
And it's
down.
important to blend your turns too, right? Because like there's the concept to save the turns for turning,
Yep.
right? You don't want to be braking or accelerating during the turn. You want to accelerate out of the turn as quickly as possible, but you want to make that turn without giving it too much forward or back input.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And that's
Gotcha.
that's that's
Just ve-
another key tip that I
just
think
be
people probably aren't thinking about.
and just being very subtle with shifting your weight throughout the turn.
Huh. Okay. So you're more on a neutral than like you were just saying, James. So not as you're making that turn and you're really going into it, you're not pushing it into the turn. You're are you floating the turn kind of neutral so that you're not
Like like
accelerating
you
or
you don't want to start turning before you've slowed down enough to make that turn. In other
gotcha.
words, if you're racing and I don't care if it's off road or on road, you essentially want to accelerate through the straights as fast as you can, and then when those turns come up, that's when you say, "Oh shit!" But you want to essentially brake as quickly as you can and blend into the turn.
Uh-huh.
Like it's impractical to say, okay, brake, turn, accelerate, right? Because you're gonna blend those braking and turning into acceleration, but uh, be patient through the turn. Like
Okay.
there's a moment where it feels like, man, I feel like especially if you slow down in order to take the turn with grip,
Mhm.
these these EUCs aren't quite like MotoGP bikes where you're going to over throttle it, but you can definitely be too far forward or too far back. You want to kind of be facing in, perpendicular to the turn, I guess, from the apex.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's a lot to absorb. A lot to absorb cuz I see you guys doing those turns and holding it. I'm like, I don't know how they hold those turns cuz I feel like the wheel and especially like I just said while I was on Mount Baldy, I went to make a turn and I misjudged it. And as I was like, oh shit. And I'm trying to slow down super fast to make it around this wide corner or this
Yeah.
tight corner where I was going wide and I got the wobble and I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And I'm like, I can't imagine doing that and then racing. And like I'm racing other people to make this turn. And I'm like, whew. That's why I don't race.
Do you ride motorcycles?
I used to, yeah.
Um, there's one thing. I eventually got a street motorcycle in my 40s, and you know, being the conscientious person, I took a motorcycle safety course, and there is
Hmm.
actually a lot of good tips in there. So if there's people that maybe you don't even ride a motorcycle, you can go and learn how to ride one at these community colleges for a couple bucks on a Saturday, and a lot of that stuff translated over, and accelerating through the turn uh, on a motorcycle, especially, right? You know what it's like,
Hmm.
you, oh, I'm not turning fast enough. No, you want to roll the throttle on and lean down harder,
Right.
right? If you get scared and you put your brakes on, you go straight and you don't
Yep.
make the turn. You end up in oncoming traffic or you're off the edge of the cliff or whatever obstacle
Yeah.
is there.
And that's exactly
So
what I felt like that day on Mount Baldy. I felt like one of those motorcycle turns that I didn't make. I was like, shit, 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 shit. And I knew
yeah.
instantly that I screwed it up. But
Let me guess, you're going downhill.
yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like,
You
oh boy.
gotta get over the edge of your toes and lean into it. And it's
Hmm.
scary as crap, especially when you're already going fast.
Yeah. And especially when you're headed towards the edge of a cliff.
Uh-huh.
So,
Don't look at the cliff.
yeah.
Look, you have to look where you have to look into the turn, like Zach was saying, look up ahead, look
Yeah.
as far ahead as you can, and always where you want to go.
Yeah, I was able to pull it out and turn my pedal dug in the dirt. My camera hit the dirt. I was holding a GoPro. It hit the dirt. My pedal hit the dirt, and I was like, oh, and I just made it. But from
I'm
then on,
glad
I was
you're
like,
okay.
yeah, thank you. From then on, I realized, okay, watch the turns.
And get a
So
better GoPro cover.
yeah, yeah. I did well. I made it the rest of the way down. I had a lot of fun,
But
but
those
hey,
guys are great down there. Don Champion is always out with those
oh
guys.
yeah,
She was even at the practice at AVS that day I was mentioning.
yep,
She's putting in the time. You know, there's just a lot of people out there that are they really enjoy this sport, and you know, I love doing it with them. So
yeah. There's a lot of people that really do put their heart and soul in it because they love it. So, and that's it's great to see. I enjoy watching you guys ride. I really do, and I know I'm going to be watching you ride for quite a long time to come. So, continue doing what you're doing, and I look forward to seeing what your thoughts are on the ET Max as a race family. So, let's see if you can push that and see if that ET Max is the one that takes the place of the Masters in people's in everybody's stable. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but we'll see because
I
I
think
it's
that
pretty
might
heavy.
be I think that might be more of an AVS wheel,
Yeah,
but
I I
you
think you
know,
might be right.
let
I'm
let
not sure if the heaviness to the wheel can be handled in those tight corners though. That's what I want to see. I know that it has the speed, but it's heavy. I don't know if it has the handling. So I think I'm gonna order one too at some point soon. I guess I don't know. I
well,
don't know.
I noticed during the AVS streaming, you guys in your predictions didn't have the Darnells in your predictions of winners, so maybe we'll be top nine. You know,
Yeah, we
one
definitely.
amateur last year and sportsman this year. I only got one other goal next year.
What's that?
I got to win pro or at
There
least
you
podium.
go. Well, you gotta say it. I get you. I mean, it ain't a real thing until you say it. So,
Oh, I
okay,
visualize.
that's right. Visualize. I see it. I see it. Okay, so I expect some first place podium wins out of both of you, um, because I mean you get to ride all the time, and I know you're practicing. So I look forward to what you
We're
guys are
headed
gonna
to
put
Let It
down.
Ride this weekend.
There you go.
Yeah,
So
we'll be down
yeah,
in Hoover Dam area.
yeah, and I believe you should see Seth and Nick down there. So
Cool.
it should be pretty cool. I wish I could make that one as well, but like I said, going forward, we'll see what happens. So thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate you sharing your tips and giving a lot of people an insight as to what the Darnells are thinking when they're racing, because that's a lot of thought going into it. And yes, you sounded like a little bit of Roger, a little bit of Law. So, and Zach, it seems like Zach, is it me or do you feel like you just have more fun than Dad does, or no?
I think I'm off in my own world when I'm writing.
So you
So
don't
it's less
calculate quite as you don't
and
calculate quite as much
I,
as
I,
Dad
I
does.
refuse. I refuse to get one of those comm systems because I know I would annoy the hell out of everyone in the group with all like the little noises and the constant laughing and the singing.
And with me, you would just hear grunts and old man
Hey,
swears.
wait up!
No, it's more like, oh shit.
Uh,
Big time.
Uh, I do that. That's me. I talk to myself a lot. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, turn that mic off. I don't want to record nothing because I'll do a voiceover later.
Yeah, yeah. When they were asking if they wanted us mic'd, I think at Amped and a couple other events, I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah, you're like, no, I don't think you want to do that.
Mhm. It may
All
not
right,
be
guys.
easy.
Let me ask you: is there anything else you guys want to share before we end? Anything you want to share with the people out there?
yeah, get out and teach your friends how to ride a unicycle,
There you go.
maybe electric unicycle.
Yeah,
Show up to the events, host people in your cities. You know, just be part of the community and give back as much as you can, and you know, share the vibe.
there you go.
Yeah,
You
have
heard it
fun.
here. Share the vibe, people. Share the vibe. Once
Nothing
again,
to it but to
it,
do it.
yeah, that's right. We are here, the Wheel Life Show. I'm glad we were able to share it with James and Zack Darnell. I hope you guys see us somewhere this year because we will, between the three of us, we're going to be at all kinds of events this year. So come out and see us. If you happen to catch this live stream and you're not on an EUC yet, see somebody, one of us. Look at the people in this chat, look at the people on the stream, see somebody. Get the wheel underneath your feet. I guarantee you will not regret it. Riding is freedom. It's not just freedom, but it's excitement and freedom. And the feeling cannot be replaced by anything I felt yet. So trust me when I tell you, make it happen. Until next time, it's your man Black Cobra, and I'm here with the Darnells. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.